Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. We're at the illustrious Delray Beach Boxing Club here in South Florida. You're watching True School Sports. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, interesting stuff going on in the boxing world in regards to the super flyweight division, and it features two of my favorite fighters in boxing, two of boxing's best and most elite fighters, and the man we affectionately refer to on this channel as the real TBE, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, and Juan Francisco Estrada, otherwise known as Gallo Estrada. An article came out on BoxingScene.com, so shout out to the fine folks at BoxingScene.com. And Team Estrada basically came out and stated that they haven't actually begun negotiations with any of the representatives of Chocolatito Gonzalez, contrary to what's being reported out there. Here's what was his name? My main man, Fernando Beltran, or Fernando Beltran. We'll put the Spanish pronunciation on it. We'll put some respect on his name. Fernando Beltran of Zenith Promotions revealed that before they think about rematch with Chocolatito, Estrada could face former world champion Carlos Cuadras, which is crazy because I know he picked up a win recently, but I don't really think people are clamoring for Carlos Cuadras. I mean, I respect Carlos Cuadras, I like him, but nobody's really clamoring for that right now. But here's what Beltran said about the Chocolatito rematch. He said, I quote, "We really want to do that fight, Estrada versus Chocolatito 2. The only fight that Estrada made at junior flyweight was with Chocolatito. Now at super flyweight, it will be another story. I believe Chocolatito needs Estrada more than Estrada needs Chocolatito. However, we want that fight. There has been no negotiations. There has been nothing. Also, Chocolatito is with Eddie Hearn, and Estrada is with me and Eddie Hearn. It is a fight that can be done in 5 minutes. There you go." And since that fight, since Chocolatito and Estrada squared off way back when in 2012, they both have had a lot of success in boxing. They both have about 29 combined wins between them since that fight, and they both have combined 3 losses, all to the same man, which is Sisra so Rungvisai. So maybe the fighter who wins this fight fights Rungvisai. But I'm gonna put it like this, man. Like, look, this fight, when everything goes back to normal, is a must this year in boxing. It has to happen because Chocolatito has returned to prominence. He's here, which is a bad news for the rest of the division. He's here and he's motivated, which is bad news for the rest of the super flyweight division. And his promoter is echoing a lot of what people are saying, that, well, Chocolatito only beat Estrada because Estrada had to come down from 115 to 112 to fight him, which is not true. He beat him because he was a better fighter, and he's still a better fighter. He's still a better fighter. And I can't wait for this fight to happen because I believe he's going to prove it on the night. And if he doesn't, look, we'll give Gallo Estrada all the credit in the world. But I just don't think he has the style to beat Chocolatito Gonzalez. And it's just as simple as that. Now, what I read early in that article was quite interesting. They were talking about him potentially fighting Carlos Cuadras, which, hold on, let's look. I want to see why is that the case. I know he won a fight recently, but why is that the case with Carlos Cuadras? Because, listen, Carlos Cuadras is he's a good fighter, fantastic fighter. He was an undefeated champion when Chocolatito beat him. He was one of the most skilled. He's still he was one of the most skilled Mexican fighters in the world. And to some extent, I still think he is one of the most skilled Mexican fighters in the world. Even though I think he has declined a bit. But let's see, he's won 3 straight fights since his loss, since suffering a loss to McWilliams Arroyo. Beat Daniel Lozano. He's beat a couple of decent names, but he hasn't beat anybody that you could say is like creme de la creme to earn a fight against a guy with Estrada. So I don't even know why we're talking about Carlos Cuadras. No disrespect to Carlos Cuadras. I like him. I've met him. I've watched him fight. He's a good fighter. Put on a great show along with Chocolatito when they fought at the Forum in 2016. It was probably the best boxing match I've ever been to in person. I loved every minute of it, but there's no way, and there's no reason he should be getting a fight against Estrada before Chocolatito. These are 2 world champions. These are 2 pound for pound top 10 caliber fighters right now. I just did my pound for pound list recently. I didn't put Chocolatito on my pound for pound list. He just missed the cut. I would have, if I made a top 15 pound for pound, he would have been like 12 or 11. But these are 2 of the most skilled fighters boxing has to offer. These are 2, in my humble opinion, future Hall of Famers of the sport. these are two fighters that I think when it's all said and done and those history books are written, once their careers are over, they're going to be two of the all-time greats of the small weight classes, and two of the all-time greats of fighters to represent their countries in the sport of boxing. You know what I'm saying? So this fight has to happen. You know, there's no need to wait. It's unification, which I think is very important, especially when we talk about a guy like Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, who's done so much in his career. You know, he's been the pound-for-pound king of boxing. He's been lineal champion. He's beaten undefeated fighters. He's beaten undefeated bigger fighters. He's defended his titles. But the one thing that he hasn't been able to do yet in his career, and a couple of times it's been through no fault of his own. Sometimes fighters have ducked and have had titles, is unify titles. And I think for Chocolatito, this would be another feather in the cap of his career if he could unify, but not even just that, unify against a younger, primer, bigger Juan Francisco Estrada. So it's this fight is so important. It's so important for the sport of boxing, and you can bet your ass, you can bet your bottom dollar, and every last penny in your piggy bank that I will be at this fight when it happens, most likely in LA, because it's a legacy fight of the highest order. You know, I don't think of all the potential matchups that could be made at 115 right now, I don't think there's any fight in this weight class that you could say is a bigger legacy fight for the fighters than this one right here, because Gallo feels like Chocolatito beat him only because of the weight, and a lot of his fans feel that way. You know, Chocolatito doesn't say much, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't. I'm pretty sure he thinks that's a bunch of BS, and he'll be looking to prove the doubters wrong and erase all the doubts and let the world know that, hey, not only was I the better fighter back then when I was in my prime, I'm also the better fighter. I'm also the better fighter at the twilight of my career when I'm older. So that's the intrigue. That's the intrigue of the fight to me. But that's the news. You know, Fernando Beltran says that negotiations haven't actually begun, and they'll be fighting. They'll be looking to get that fight done this year. But in the event that it doesn't get done between Chocolatito and Estrada, then he'll probably target a Carlos Cuadras rematch, which again I don't think is extremely necessary. Even though Cuadras has been on a bit of a winning streak, I don't think it's the most necessary thing. I think the first thing that needs to be done and looked at is that big unification fight between Chocolatito and Estrada. And I know it's a fight that a lot of the Nicaraguan boxing fans want to see. I know it's a fight that a lot of the Mexican boxing fans want to see. And I know that it's a fight that a lot of the boxing fans at large that have no relation to either country want to see. So hopefully it gets done. Fingers crossed that it does when things go back to normal. But that's the news. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know who you're favoring to win in the comments down below. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.
And this is my friend. Hi, I'm Savannah, and we're here at the beautiful Madison Square Garden for the big fight, and you are watching True School Sports.